Hey guys, just in time here. So now I'm going to tell you why we need to go over the fiscal cliff. And of course, again, it's the Republicans' fault, as always, which maybe I'm a little bit biased, but anyways, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. The fact is that Grover Norquist and all of his buddies in Congress who signed his pledge are so resolute that they cannot raise taxes without violating that pledge, and if they do that, Grover Norquist is going to go after him with everything he has. I don't know if you've seen him lately on the talk shows on cable network news, but he is really calling out the few Republican senators who have even questioned it, saying that they're having impure thoughts and just crazy talk. He compared violating this pledge to somebody's wife violating the oath they made to them to fidelity. So anyways, he's really a Nazi when it comes to this pledge. But these Republicans are so scared of him and so worried about their own jobs and so uninterested in the actual need to get this done that they would rather see the entire economy of this country collapse rather than violate this pledge they made to Grover Norquist. So the fact is, we have to go over this fiscal cliff for the Republicans' own sake, because once we go over the fiscal cliff, then the taxes raised on everybody across the board, all of the Bush tax cuts expire. And right now, the Democrats and Republicans, in theory, both agree that we should keep the Bush tax cuts in place for 98% of the country. The whole debate right now is for that last 2%. Well, the Republicans in Congress, especially under the prodding of Grover Norquist, say that if they make a deal to keep the 98% of the Bush tax cuts in place but let the other 2% expire, that's equal to a tax increase on that top 2%. So that would mean Grover Norquist would go into action and start attacking them and make a primary challenge to them next year. So that's the whole thing we're facing right now, is the Republicans' unwillingness to violate this pledge. And so now, if we go over the fiscal cliff and if the taxes are raised above the board on everybody, now you're just talking about lowering taxes on 98% of the people. And now the Republicans can do that without violating that pledge they signed. And so it's all a political game. It's all a manipulation, regardless of how this might affect the American people. But at the same time, I will argue that it's not really a cliff so much as it is a slope. Because although a lot of these budget cuts and the taxes and the tax increases go into effect after January, a lot of them won't actually, the effects won't be seen until later in the year, and a lot of them can be reversed as soon as a deal is done, maybe within a couple of weeks or something. So I don't think we need to go over this cliff permanently, but I do think going over it for a short period of time might be the best thing to do, not because that's what the Democrats want to do, but because that's what the Republicans need to do. So anyways, it's either that or the Republicans get some balls and violate that pledge. We only need 22 of them to agree to keep the Bush tax cuts in place for 98% of the people. I mean, really, they are holding those tax cuts hostage, which shows that the Republicans don't give a damn about the taxes and keeping taxes low on average people. All they really care about are those 2%. They're willing to throw everybody else and 98% of the country in jeopardy of having all the taxes raised, and they don't care at all about that. All they're fighting for is that top 2% of the American people, the ones who basically fund all their elections, the Grover Norquists, the Koch brothers, the Donald Trumps. That's all they care about, and it shows in everything they do and the fact that they're not willing to come to a deal about this. But anyway, so now we have no choice. We got to go over that cliff, so buckle up, because here we go. Thanks again to the Republicans.